Hello there BookTube, it's Janet, and I've got a reading update of some of the books I've been reading recently. The first one I've got to tell you about is Dear Mrs. Bird by AJ Pierce. This book is set during wartime. It follows a young girl who's out looking for a job. She wants to be a journalist, she wants to be a writer, and she gets a job at a woman's magazine. I can't remember the name of the woman's magazine, working under quite a formidable agony aunt, and there is a definite strict code on what is deemed acceptable and what is not deemed acceptable. So if you want advice on how to hang a net curtain or how to dress appropriately for an event, that's in the column. But if you're worried about your boyfriend cheating on you, that's definitely a taboo subject. Mrs. Bird, the formidable agony aunt, is often in and out of the office, so she's quite busy with charitable causes, and she's one of these, you know, formidable tyrants of a character. And so I can't remember the name of the girl who gets the job, who's there as Mrs. Bird's assistant, starts to get these letters from genuinely upset, troubled girls and women who definitely need a helping hand. So she starts to answer the letters herself with some advice, and it all starts to untangle. There's a little bit of a love story going through that as well, and I enjoyed it. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I had high expectations of this book because it's absolutely my kind of thing. It was okay, it was a good read, but it didn't blow me away. I've also read the second book in the Throne of Glass series, which is Crown of Midnight. I'm working my way through the series with Eleanor from Eleanor Reads Books, although I think she's way far ahead of me because I have been a bit slumpy lately. I think you've all probably read this series by now. We are definitely catching up to everybody else. I'm really enjoying it. I just found that it took me a bit of a time to get through this book. Just nothing to do with the book, just because I have felt a little bit slumpy recently. But it's definitely a series I'm really enjoying. I love the characters in it. I love Selena Sardothian. I've probably said that completely wrong. She's just a fantastic kick-ass female, and I'm definitely going to be carrying on with the series. I absolutely love it. Next, I've read a couple of graphic novels that I've had on my shelves for ages, and the first one was Dan and Sam by Mark Watson, and this is a love story of a couple who are restaurant owners. Unfortunately, Sam, the wife, gets killed in an accident, and Dan can't let go. He's grieving, and he goes back to visit her every year in the cemetery on Halloween, and it's almost like the Day of the Dead, like the Mexicans celebrate. It does deal with grief. I found it okay, but I didn't love it. You find that the bits where Sam is reborn again on Halloween are done in colour, and the rest of the time you get the so you get the two contrasts, you get the black and white palette. So I think that was quite a clever way of evoking the feeling of Dan. But yeah, it was only okay for me. It's definitely not one I'm going to be hanging on to. That'll be going to my local charity shop. But yeah, I've read it. It was okay. The next one I'm going to show you is Page by Page by Laura Lee Gledge. This is a young girl who's trying to find her identity, trying to become confident. It's the typical, they've moved to another area. She's seeing how does she fit in. She's following rules, but what she really wants to be is an artist. I found it just a bit tropey, to be honest. A little bit too melancholy. I did keep wanting to say to Paige at times, oh, just get over yourself, stop overthinking it, stop overanalyzing it, get on with things and just enjoy being young. So it did annoy me somewhat, and I felt that apart from the lovely bright cover, the palette is actually all black and white, and I just didn't feel that worked for this book. I thought, you know, it's a book about art and drawing, and then it's just full of black and white palette. So yeah, it was only okay. Bit of a disappointment. So that again will be going to the charity shop. The next one I read was Obsidio, the third one in the Illuminate files. Absolutely loved it. Fantastic climax to the series. I think I'm also going to get this series on audiobook because I've heard great things about that it has a full cast narration, and yeah, it's definitely not a world I'm willing to leave straight away. So yeah, I loved this series. It's absolutely brilliant. These are rereads to me, and these are, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Cazalet Chronicles, and this is a Family Saga series written by Elizabeth Jane Howard, who's since died. And if you like Downton Abbey, I think you would like these books, and they are set from the period beginning of the Second World War to, you know, beyond the end of the Second World War. There's actually 5 books in this series. The first books were sort of written in the 90s, and then before Elizabeth Jane Howard died, she did write the final 5th book. Because I read these books when they first came out in the 90s, I wanted to revisit them before I read the 5th book. So I've been listening to them on audiobook. So I've read the first 3 books. The first 3 are The Light Years, Marking Time and Confusion. It just follows an English upper middle class family who have a big home in the countryside, and also they have, you know, the pied-à-terres in London as well, and how the dynamics of the family change when war is thrust upon them. It follows the duchy and the brig. These are the parents of the family. They have 3 sons and 1 daughter, and it follows the stories of their lives, their children, and I just really enjoy it. And if you love a family saga, I do recommend it. So I've just finished the first 3. I'm now currently about 3/4 of the way through the 4th book, and then I'll be into new territory with the final 5th book, but I'm absolutely loving it on audiobook. The next one I've got to show you is Unmentionable by Therese O'Neill, and this is absolute genius, this book. It's a non-fiction book about how it was to live as a woman through the Victorian era, and it's written in a very irreverent style. I love Therese's writing style. Basically, she's taking you by the hand as a friend, and she's saying, look, come on, we all love the adaptations of the Jane Austen novels, and we all love, you know, the period dramas and how romantic everything is and how the clothes are fantastic, but actually, let's start by getting dressed. Okay, we don't have knickers. You have to wear these breeches that are crotchless. They're crotchless because then you've got to put your corset on. Oh, and how about going to the toilet? Oh, toilets haven't been invented yet. Going out into the streets are filthy, they're running with filth, and there are no washing machines, and there are no off-the-peg clothes, and it's just, it shows you the reality of being a woman in these times, but it's written in a lovely, irreverent, humorous way, and it's a fantastic way to get into history without feeling like it's a dry, fusty tale. So I can't recommend this highly enough. I absolutely loved it. So that's just a quick update of some of the books that I was reading while I was away from BookTube. I'll see you all soon, BookTube. Keep reading. Bye!